Welcome to the Seahawks podcast. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner, and I am joined by a very special guest today. We've got Griff Sturgeon of the Seattle Overload podcast. Griff, it is bright and early game day in the PNW, although it's in Green Bay. How are you today, my man?
Doing all right. Yeah, affirmative on both counts, bright and early and game day. Get to do a little pre-game podcast action, so I'm excited to take it all on.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. All right, we're gonna hop right into it. So today, for those that are watching, wherever you're watching from, your YouTube and you're listening to audio, whatever it is, doesn't matter really. Hopefully you're out enjoying some sunshine, some coffee, and whatever else you might partake in. But we're gonna look at a nice rundown of stuff. We are gonna look at, hey, where are our eyes gonna be during the Packers game? Who do we care about the most in what is preseason game 3? Which pertains to the bubble bursting, who's going to be on those bubbles. Want to get Griff's pulse on what's he's seen from the rookies so far. We're going to talk about Nwosu being back because Griff and Maddie from Seattle Overload, they're pretty big Nwosu, I would say, glue gun believers, and we'll talk about what that means. And we might hit a few more topics too. Maybe Sundell, maybe some trade talk with Micah and Trey. We'll see where this Saturday morning takes us, Griff. How's that sound to you?
Sorry, my audio just freaked out on me and things started playing that weren't supposed to be playing.
That's the best. It's a good feature.
I know. It's a great way to kick it off. Can I repeat the last half of your question because I didn't quite grasp it?
Yeah, it was basically like we're going to talk about a smorgasbord of stuff and how does it feel to you?
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm excited for this last preseason game.
Nice.
Sounds like a lot of the depth players are really going to get some work in. It sounds like we're going to get an entire game of Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, that's going to be dope.
And like the thing that I've been wanting for the rookies is just more reps. Just selfishly, I think we all just want to see more of them because we haven't really. You only get a snapshot of these guys in each preseason game. So it seems like week 3 is the game where the coaching staff just says, "All right, all young guys get out there." At least for the ones that like aren't slated to start. So my eyes will be fixated on Jalen Milroe. More reps, more snaps, more situations where we can see kind of what the borderlines are of his game right now and what promise there is and pushing those borders out a little bit in his development and kind of like frame the question of like what does he need to work on and stuff because we're still in the information gathering stage, right?
I think so. I think you're right, my man.
Right.
So hey, let me progress this because I do want to show something to you as well. Of course, we want folks to be subscribing out there to both shows, youtube.com/Seahawks podcast. The likes, the subscribes. It's just so weird. It matters more than you think it does. It takes a second, and we don't like groveling, but hey, man, if you're here, give the likes, give the subscribes, and also importantly, make sure if you don't know the Seattle Overload podcast, aka the Matty F. Brown Show, starring Matty F. Brown, if you don't know that show by now, you really ought to. These guys are 2 of the best in the biz, going through the X's and O's, and having some fun along the way with all the overloaders. One of my favorite podcasts every single week. So make sure you're following there. Griff, I got one more bit of information to share. If you can see it, it's maybe a little tough to read because it's kind of small, but I'll read it for everybody there. I put this out as a poll basically yesterday, and we got, almost 300 votes. I'm sure we'll keep on going all the way to and through game day. But the question was, what area of the team are you still most concerned about? And I put 4 options up there. Linebacker depth. Sam, can he really be the guy? Mm-hmm. Can he be the man? The O-line, it looks good, but can we believe it until we really see it? And then I put Murphy in there being like, look, is he going to take that leap? Is he going to be a real wrecking ball? And is he going to get a chance to play 3 technique or be stuck at 0 and 1 all year as well because of maybe a lack of depth at nose tackle that might curb his ceiling? Let's put it that way. So to say the results, right now, it's kind of split, but the most people are looking at the most amount of people, 37%, are saying linebacker depth is kind of what's bugging them right now, followed by the O-line being really real, and the other ones are kind of cascading behind that. If you had a vote on this, Griff, where would you lay your chips as, okay, I got the most concerns here?
Yeah, linebacker depth is really important, but I think that O-line is probably has the most impact on their fortunes this season. All 4 of these items are really important, obviously, but there's a pitch behind this offense, but that so much of it of that pitch is built off of how good does the O-line actually end up being. So, I mean, I feel like we know who Sam is, and what we know him to be is a variety of things. But if the O-line can take care of its business, then Sam can absolutely be good enough to get this offense in the top half of the league's offenses. And coupled with where we think the defense is headed, then, you know, you're knocking on the door of being a playoff team, if not being a playoff team. So but really, it's like it all falls apart in my view if the O-line isn't there. So, yeah.
I mean, that makes all the sense in the world. It's the pillar of any good NFL team. If you don't have that, you have no shot. It's almost as like if you don't have a good quarterback, you know, it's like they really are part and parcel, because we've seen Hall of Fame quarterbacks, let's say Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers, you know, miss the playoffs for gaps in their career, even though they're still one of the best, because their team around them was kind of garbage, you know, and specifically the O-line. So let's go through these one by one. I think it'd be an interesting exercise, a nice way to guide us. And we do have, let's say hello to our buddy 1 second here. He's coming in, and it's hard to navigate all things. We got Bryce Coots saying, the Hawks side with Bryce Coots. Hey, Bryce, thank you for the shout out yesterday. Congrats on starting your new show, and looking forward to being on it, I think Thursday next week. So good job, Bryce. We appreciate you, bud. And we got lots of other folks here. Let's say hello quickly to Jason Turner. Griff, if you don't know Jason, he's in our Discord as Rising Hawkra, I believe. He's a great dude. So what's up there? We got Swedish saying go Hawks. And Amy Holmes, I'm sure, I'm almost very positive you've probably seen Amy Holmes on poking around your podcast as well.
For sure.
She's amazing, a great flocker. Saying morning all, thanks to Griff for the good cross conversations. Thank you all. Oh man, we got a super chat. Look at this. It is Bryce Coots coming in with a Canadian 20, which is, hey, we'll take it. Thank you so much, Bryce. That's amazing. This is an awesome collaboration. Got to have you both on my new show. Hey, man, don't got to drag me to a good time. So it's all good by me. Bryce, again, congrats on getting your new show going. And it's really cool. Griff, as a creator, one thing that's interesting is, you know, I've been doing this now 7-8 years. The Seahawkers pod's been on for, I think this is year 12 or 13. And I've been with them for I think this is year 8. And the explosion of really good content creators. And then there's a lot of volume too. But I feel like the explosion of people who really add value is just kind of off the charts. It keeps growing. What's your take on the community of creators around this team?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I like how much excitement there is, how much, enthusiasm there is. And I like the different angles and perspectives. Like obviously Bryce brings such a great angle, him being offensive mind and coach. And I mean, it kind of speaks to how rich football is, that it can accommodate these many creators, as you said, and all bringing value at the same time. And, we all keep each other on our toes too, at the same time. We all learn from each other, and it just kind of grows the community. So I think it's great. And ultimately the more the merrier. So
I agree, man. I think it's a bit of I've shared a lot of times on this podcast that I grew up in New York. I grew up on Long Island as not a lonely Seahawks fan, but there was one other dude in my town who I'm still friends with who was a Seahawks fan. And that was it. And we didn't get, for me, I had to watch primetime, and the end of primetime, because we were not a very good team, to watch 2 minutes of John Elway smoking us. And I was like, awesome. I don't know why, but I love you. The team, not Elway could kick rocks. And now, and I would have to send away for the physical paper. I think the Seahawks Insider, I think it was called. And that would be about a week behind, but it was the best way I can get some in-depth articles about what's actually happening. And whatever reason, I was addicted. And now, I'm flying out to Seattle in a couple of weeks for the home opener. And it's just constant live streaming and constant flow of information. And I'm really happy that there's so many people that care, and B, that I think you had said, just do a unique job. It's, and that's really, really fortunate. I watch other podcasts, other teams' podcasts, because I want to infer who our opponents are and kind of pick up what they're doing. I really think the volume and variety that Seahawks fans get is a bit unique in the league, which is kind of neat. And I think that just goes back to the absolute sheer, fanatics that are in the PNW, dude.
No, I agree with you. We might have one of the in a per capita sense, one of the more stronger online presences, and
no doubt.
And same in the blogosphere as well. And but that's real commitment, though, following a team, all the way on the other side of the continent when you can't even watch them half the time.
And we were bad. I mean, like when I was very young, we were good, right? So Kurt Warren, and obviously Largent and Craig, and the Zorn was kind of getting older, but it was still John L. Williams. It was good, and then we were bad. So you got to, I'm 47, so in '92. I'm 14 years old when we're going 2-14. And I'm sitting there like clamoring for Kelly Stouffer highlights. I don't know what's wrong with me, dude. But I thank the Lord every day that I'm not a Jets fan, because that is so much worse.
Well, the payoff of the 05 team, the 2013 team, it's
that is.
I'm happy you got to. Not experience a Super Bowl loss. So that was still a fun.
Hey man, it's still that's still both of those were at kick to the groin, if you will. But the win, that win, it was worth it, man. So,
for sure.
Well, very cool. Well, let's get another one, man. So let's go down this list. If I had to place my chips in a place to, I have less worry about the O-line, because it's like, yes, I realize that is the most important thing. Of course, Sam is Sam, but I agree with you, by the way. In fact, I know I keep, cutting myself off. For me, I also can do what I think you did was take Sam and kind of put him aside. It's like, wait, we saw him go 14-3 last year. We see how he can operate in a similar, going to be different than O'Connell, but a similar system with Kubiak. And it's very, very evident that the team's tenor and the constitution of the team will be run the football, have a fullback, get out in boots, use digs, use the flats, make things simple for the quarterback. And when it comes time for the real games, also take your shots downfield, like add that wrinkle in, take those deeper shots, which of course worked last year with Addison and Jefferson and Hawkinson. I am in a very comfortable position with Sam as our quarterback. So anything else you want to say about Sam before we kind of maybe put him to the side?
Yeah, real quick. I mean, anyone that's followed me knows that I was partial to Geno over Sam, even with me too. Like the opportunity costs and the contract differences, and that's its own conversation, right? Because of Pete becoming a variable and everything. But I view Sam the way I view a lot of quarterbacks, and it's if you just meet thresholds of play in certain areas, there's plenty of precedence, even in recent NFL history, that you can go compete for your conference championship with that caliber of quarterback play, provided you take care of meeting the thresholds of other parts of your team too, at offensive coordinator, at O-line, at receiver, et cetera, right? So I mean, Sam can be a key cog in this offense being better than we think it could be or should be, or maybe better than what the national media thinks it will be. I know a lot of people have ire for the national media and stuff and underrating their favorite team, but I think they end up they don't always pay attention as much as they should, but I think they do a better job of taking aggregating all the opinions and averaging it out than we give them credit for. I think that they're probably prudent to be a little cautious about this group, but that still doesn't mean the potential isn't there. I mean, look, if the O-line is, say, an above average run blocking unit, say no worse than 20th ranked in protection, maybe even better than that. If Arroyo hits immediately, I believe Arroyo will hit as a draft pick, but if he does it this year in conjunction with JSN, Cooper Kupp in support, Torrey Horton in support, I think we're all AJ Barner guys, so, and gals. So it's that can add up to, 12th ranked offenses within their grasp, and 12th ranked offense in conjunction with potentially a top 5 defense. That's a formula that goes deep in the playoffs. It's happened before. But it's just a matter of all these ifs, even though they're realistic and feasible. Is it realistic that all of them hit at the same time? And that's what we'll be looking for. Yeah.
And I think, we had, this is not a brag piece, but we had Earl Thomas on very recently, and you contributed a great question that he gave a cool answer to as well. And hey, just go hit youtube.com/Seahawkers podcast. It's right there. It says, the thumb says Earl's take. I think we show it later in the program anyway, and it's a good conversation. He stays on for I think over a half an hour or something like that. But when we asked him, I said, well, what do you think about this team this year? And he's like, well, I'm seeing 7 to 9 wins. And I was like, whoa, get back, JoJo. What's happening, Earl? What, where? We had 10 last year. And I think this is a better red zone team. I really feel it's going to be, I know it'll be better structured from an offensive organization and what you want to do with the ball scheme. And the defense should take a step forward, or at least even just go sideways, which was still right on the cusp of top 10, if not top 10 at certain times of the year. Which is, again, that you put that into a cocktail and you have a team that can make a playoff push. So when I pressed Earl on it, his answer was pretty simple. And, people were like, oh man, I can't believe he was so low on them. But his thing was like, hey, this is a lot of year one for a lot of dudes. And he kind of just like left it there. It was like, this is a lot of change. And yes, they're professionals. With all that, it is, he's been through the ringer of the NFL, and believe it or not, Griff, I have not. I'm still trying, but still trying.
Something we have in common.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm closer to the water boy than I am to Bobby Wagner for sure. And so with all that, it's like I have to, while my allergic reaction is, come on, Earl, you're off your tree. My more sober reaction is, well, maybe he's onto something because he's been through what change is like. What do you think of that, dude?
Yeah, I mean, when I listened to it, and it was a great episode, by the way. So cool you could get him. I wondered, like, what is feeding that conclusion? Like,
Right.
what's going into it? And look, I mean, I could see this team winning 9 games. I could also see them winning 10 or 11. I could maybe see them in the kind of a worst case scenario winning as few as 7, but I don't think that's likely. I think they settle around 9 or 10 in all likelihood. And so, for him to cite like a lot of first year for a lot of guys, I mean, we saw last year on defense, when you have so much newness, how high variance it can be. And as you said, like they finished the year about 10th ranked, but there is a period where they were the worst defense in football for about 5-6 games.
Yeah, ugly.
With Mike McDonald coaching them. And so if it can happen to Mike, that speaks to the concept of like, when you don't have your ducks in a row, when some things out of your control start to bubble to the surface, bad things can happen. So on the offensive side of the ball, like Earl probably isn't a Clint Kubiak guy. He probably just thinks like whatever, we'll see. I had a much better opinion of Clint Kubiak after watching his Saints film than I did going into it. Prior to that point, I just kind of viewed Clint as like, this is just another guy, another name that we know that has risen to the offensive coordinator position, maybe out of a combination of luck or just, who else are you going to hire? Because so many OCs get cycled through right now. I ended up liking him a little bit more. So it might be a case of him not being super high on Kubiak, him thinking the team switch for Darnold could be disruptive. And then he's probably just looking at the skill group and just with a little bit more sober eyes than we are, and saying like, look, JSN's great, and he might like the potential of Horton and like the potential of Arroyo, but in his mind, it's like you have to earn your keep. You're not anything yet. And for a player that's had so much playoff experience and had to really grind in the extremely competitive division himself over the years, he probably just has a more tougher mindset. Like, no, you got to show me first. So, yeah, which I understand. But without, pressing on it with him, as you tried, I would really want to know like what's really feeding that. But yeah, I mean, I think 7 to 9 it comes from a place of like rationality, but I don't know if it's still the most likely range of wins and losses for them. I would say more like 8 to 10 is the likeliest, maybe 9 to 11, but
yeah. So like 13 or 14 wins. Easy, Griff. It's no big deal. No big deal.
And a Super Bowl. Yeah.
Hey, well, of course. If you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly bear, right, Griff? So, yeah. But no, that's a nice, thank you for hopping in, like trying to hop in Earl's brain. That can't be easy. And, try to talk through where he was coming from. And I think you did a nice job of that as well. I do think that this pitch is a bit higher, but I'm also very much an optimist. And every single year, I could ask my brother, who's 5 years older than me and a Patriots fan, also grew up on Long Island, who he's like, I'm waiting for your annual call, because I call him every single year and tell him why the Seahawks really can win the Super Bowl. Right. This includes me talking to him as a 14-year-old about Kelly Stouffer, for God's sake. Sure. So, and one other quick point about that, about what we were just saying is like how high this can pitch. I was DMing on Twitter, X, whatever, with Max Toscano yesterday, who we've had on the pod, and he's definitely a tight end guru and really knows the sport really well
Smart
as well.
guy, yeah.
Yeah, very smart dude. And we're gonna have him back on too. And he was just like, look, that is some of the crispest wide zone execution I've seen in a while. And I was like, oh, pretty high praise, because I think, like you guys, your X's and O's certainly better than I do. And I learned from you and his
Mm-hmm.
podcast. And but it was nice to hear that he had those eyes and they're being like, look, this looks, back to the O-line, I guess, quickly. It looks, it's early days, and it might be against second and thirds, maybe a few firsts, but that Kansas City game, I think, really opened quite a number of eyes. I guess the question for today would be, yes, that sounds true and all. What can we see today that kind of just Thelma and Louises us in a good way over this hype edge about this O-line?
Yeah, well, and then it's going to be tough because probably we won't see much run with the ones, right?
Right.
So I think it is worthwhile, though, in really keying in on Christian Haynes. Even though Bradford has greatly outplayed him in the preseason, I don't think Haynes' snaps have been that bad. I do think he is an improved player. He's improved on 2024 Haynes and 2023. Well, am I? No. He's a 2-year player. My bad. He's improved over last year, but so is Bradford. But unfortunately, injuries are a reality. They've been cross-training him at center and stuff. And I guess what I'm saying is Christian Haynes might get on the field somehow, some way this year, whether for good reasons or bad reasons. But
Right.
So I'll be watching him, and I want to see what his development is like, because also him developing would be another marker of what this coaching staff is capable of. But yeah, so I mean, like Max said, the O-line execution was great, and I think we probably have to balance out the week 1 and the week 2 performances. At the same time, I love Mike McDonald's mantra of players are allowed to get better, so they can just also be intrinsically better than they were from week 1 too. Like
For sure.
that
Love
improvement could have happened. I think what we know about this group is that they have taken care of so many of the things that sink otherwise talented offensive lines, where the continuity, the cohesion, the chemistry, the communication, not just pre-snap, but knowing what they need to do post-snap, when to release to the second level, when not to, when to stay on a combo, when to, all those things, when there are moving parts from the defense. Like, however good you are going to be, you have to clean up those concepts first before you can actually access your potential as a group. And so the sooner they do that in the year, which no offensive line peaks in week 1, like I don't care, even the Eagles, they're better in week 6 than they are in week 2, for example, right? The sooner you can get over that hump, the better, right? So the fact that they have the ones anyway seem to be this polished as a unit, the way they relate to one another on the field, the better. And I just think it's great that they look that clean already. And so then traits wise, this unit can really get horizontal and fast. They can really get out and move. I think if they have it's a game of matchups, right? The really stout defensive lines that can maybe not be as fast as them horizontally, but maybe keep up a little bit, but also have really intense play strength, that will give them some issues getting vertical displacement on teams. So that's kind of like the next test, and Green Bay can definitely do that. But again, it's going to be their 2s and 3s against our 2s and 3s, so it'll be hard to gauge. But I think that Steelers test in week 2, they play the Steelers week 2, right?
Yes. On the road, correct.
That will be a true test, like the real canary in the coal mine kind of game, to see what this unit is capable of, to kind of forecast the rest of the season. They can still get better after that, but it'll be a good heat check for them. But yeah, I'm excited about this group, man.
Yeah, very cool. Very, very good. And something I'm excited about here, Griff, is another super chat coming in from, we got SEA, so Seahawk HW17. Gotta imagine that 17's for Dave Craig because of the comment here. He says, live in Southern Ontario, London. This is my 35th anniversary as a Seahawks fan. Griff, tell us why this is not Matty F. Brown chiming in with the super chat.
There are more than one British Seahawks fans out there in the world. So
Staten and Matty. That's my cap.
Staten and Matty, and now there's a third that we.
Now there's third. There we go. Perfect. Awesome. So 35th anniversary of being a Seahawks fan. So this getting long in the tooth as well, which is really, really good. And then I saw this from Corey. I started this, and this is a great one too. I know Corey bounces around our podcast, Nemhauser's. I've seen him on yours as well. Corey Kuhlman. He says, didn't we have a lot of change last year when Earl was talking about change? And yeah, we did. We had quite a bit of change last year. And then, again, I think from Earl's perspective, it's a lot of that offensive change. But again, the defense, hopefully settling down. All right, Griff, let's swing over to, so we've still got this graphic on screen. Let's go to Murphy, and then let's save the linebacker conversation for last. And then I want to take us through, for folks that are going to stick around, why should you stick around? Let's go through some roster bubble looks after we get through this slide. And so let's go to Murphy. So there's here's my take. I'll give it to you quickly and then respond, add whatever you like. I'm not worried about Murphy because I think the defensive line as a unit is quite good and could very much be better than last year. And also, if Murphy to me is not an absolute rock star, but he's a very good interior defensive tackle, I still hold that with a lot of value in an NFL team, an NFL system. And for me, I think his floor is I'd already seen that last year. I saw him taking on double teams. I saw him doing the dirty work and clogging things up in the middle. Do we want more splash? Of course, we always want more splash. But I think his floor as a defensive tackle is already pretty strong. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, I'm content with Murphy to this point. I would like to see a leap as well, but a lot of that will be circumstantial. Like you said, the D-line is really good. It's really deep. There aren't a lot of snaps to go around at the moment.
Sorry to cut you off. Jen saying laugh out loud. These Canadian dudes. Okay, so I did see this. The funny part too is I saw the CA $5. I said, man, he must be using some sort of exchange. He's he's like, screw the sterling, screw the silver, screw the pound. I'm just donating in Canadian, following Bryce's chops there. So sorry to cut you off with that.
No, it's like, well, it's still Commonwealth. So we're
there we go. There we go. Oh my goodness. Funny. Well, thanks for the correction, Jen. And appreciate all the Canadians that are rocking with us today. That's hilarious.
For sure. And if the Australians want to get involved too, they're welcome.
Absolutely. Where's Shane Turner when we need him? Let's go. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, Murphy, it's there weren't a lot of snaps. The snaps he did play, he had to do a lot of the dirty work, and he was a rookie. So there were a lot of things working against him, preventing him from getting those splash plays you were talking about. So this year, I don't know if we're going to see more in the B gap. I think McDonald said he can do everything, but we would like to see him in the B gap more often. I think he said that during OTAs. I think everyone would like to see that. That doesn't mean though that he can't play in the A gap, that he can't be moonlight as a nose tackle, placed in 2-eye. And that was always part of his pitch as a prospect, was that he can do all of it. Like the value is not just how well he plays when he is a 1 technique, how well he plays when he is a 3 technique, but the fact that he can do all of those things. So for me, it's just whether his role changes or not, I'm okay with it for right now because of, again, they're covered by Jaron Reed, they're covered by Leonard Williams. They've got depth pass rushers. So it's just, what does the year 2 growth look like? And I think we're just going to see a little bit more consistency, and probably he'll be getting off some blocks a little bit more frequently as well.
And then what about Bohanna and Peely as it relates to freeing Murphy up to be more in a 3 tech position? And a couple of weeks ago, before maybe even the last couple of preseason games, we were going through some of the concerns on the Seahawkers pod, and I was like, look, I put up an Anchorman slide that was like, I don't believe you, because Murphy's out there saying, hey, the coaches are telling me I'm going to get a chance at more 3 technique this year. We got a 13-year veteran Hankins who can't find the field. I mean, it just happens. He's a big man. He's 13 years in.
Yeah.
And we got some dudes that are 26-year-olds that are, they're not proven yet for sure. Is there enough there in either or the package of Bohanna and Peely that give you, just give you the thought that, yeah, Murphy is actually going to get more chances at 3 than as he's being promised, I guess.
Yeah. I think they've shown enough to merit trying them out, and seeing how it goes. Right. I especially Peely, I mean, he's got a good anchor. I kind of like his package as a 1 technique. kind of short, squatty, and plays through blocks really strongly. He's not like a huge, mound of mass in the way that Hankins is, where you're just going to eat a double. Like, he's going to defeat a double with technique, not just pure anchor. If he beats doubles, it'll be the way Poona Ford used to beat doubles and is now beating them again in LA for the Chargers. So, not that like they're exact comps, but he's more in that world. And so the other side of this is, one, if they can play us in one technique and 2-eye for them, Leonard Williams is going to have to replace Draymond Jones a little bit outside as well when they really want a big beefy guy outside. In some of their looks, and that will also free up more 3-tech snaps for Murphy in that way, to really let him shine and work angles a little bit more frequently. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I think Healy and Bohanna optimism is definitely warranted.
Okay, and we got Charlie Malmberg also asking what I just asked. Charlie, good job there, appreciate that. And let's see, turns out if you say Shane Turner acoustic 3 times, the man shows up and shows you some love all the way from Australia.
There we
so
go.
A $2.99 super chat. Hey, I'm not going to call out the Americans in the chat, but I'm going to call out the Americans that are here. That are probably the majority. That we got Canadians left and right super chatting. We got a man from Australia, a musician who's out there working for a living, with another super chat with Shane. And hey, Americans, where you at? Where you at? I mean, give some love too. All right, so great job there. All right, so we saved maybe the best, maybe the most concerning for last, linebacker depth. And for me, it was a yellow sign that became maybe a yellow flag that became maybe a red flag. I don't love coach speak, and people seem to think that Mike McDonald is somehow different than Pete Carroll when it comes to coach speak. Oh, he says less. Oh, he's more direct. Oh, he says this. Sure, when it comes to injuries, he's like, well, we're going to have to see. We're going to have to wait and see. It's the same thing with maybe fewer words, and I'm getting we don't know when we're going to see Tyrese Knight, and I wanted to ask you, any tea leaves around timing? I saw some things recently. Should be ready for week 1. Might be ready for week 1. Great. Would love it. What happens if he's not? Who is, in your opinion, the most adept to step in right now and take Tyrese's spot before he's healthy?
Yeah, if they had to throw a backup in there right now today, I think the best depth linebacker, or maybe the way to frame this, the third best linebacker on the team is Patrick O'Connell right now in this moment. But what's interesting, or maybe not interesting, but maybe it's just something we need to consider, is that they seem to have, with the backup linebackers, they seem to have, okay, here's the backup Mike, here's the third team Mike, and then here's the second team Will, the third team Will. O'Connell plays Mike for them. Like he's the Ernest Jones backup. And I don't know if it's just nothing to them to just throw him at Will and have him play weak side. They're technically their second team weak side linebacker is Drake Thomas. So I don't know in the coaching staff's mind if that matters to them that much. I mean, skill set wise, trait wise, there's very little difference between Mike and Will. It's just more the organizational things, like, all right, where do I line up type of thing.
Yeah.
And in what are my, like, Will has responsibilities to the 3 technique and the line, and then the Mike has responsibilities to the nose tackle and the strong side end, or whatever the front is, the weak side end sometimes. So like they just have these like organizational procedural assignments that they have pre-snap, the Mike and the Will do. And I don't know if it's just how simple it is for one guy to pick it up. So I don't know if this was Madden, I would just say O'Connell, but
it's not, we're not in the simulation. I'm not sure we're not, by the way, just to be clear.
Yeah, for sure. Right. So there are some, like, again, organizational realities. It might be Drake Thomas, but I would hope it would be Patrick O'Connell. I will say that Derek Jackson, the undrafted free agent they signed, I thought he had a rough week 1 game. I thought week 2, he looked more like what I saw at Kentucky, and his final season at Kentucky ended due to injury, and maybe he's still recovering from that. But I really think he has starting potential eventually. So it would be cool if he could scrap his way up there, but I think it's a little too early for that, but I hope he at least makes the 53. I'll say this. I like him more than I like Drake Thomas.
Yeah.
Right now.
I've seen you out on Twitter being a pretty big supporter of Jackson early. And that actually went all the way back to the UDFA. Who was the other linebacker that you were a bit hot to trot for? Was it LSU guy? I forget who it was.
It was Jackson Woodard.
Right. Woodard. Okay.
And then he got cut like
Yeah,
immediately.
yeah, and of course, and then people throw tomatoes at you on Twitter. It's
Yeah.
like I love when people bring. First of all, you don't back down from people, so you speak your mind, and I appreciate that about you. Also, I love when people get on you about things. You're like, I am having a take. You know, it's like it's an opinion. You could take it or leave it. That's probably why they call it a take. And
Right.
you know, then they just they do the thing. They think they're cute, and they're like, "This you?" Question mark with like something you said like whatever a year ago. You're like, "Yes, it's me," because that's my name, and that's it's a public record. Cool. It's like, what do you think you're proving, dude? I'm just having a passionate discussion about something fun in life, and you I don't know. It always
he's not the first linebacker I've been wrong about. He won't be the last one either. So
there we go. All right, perfect. So we ran through this list real nicely, and thanks to all the folks that voted. And I know the votes will keep on coming in, but I love how like a question can spur, you know, like 30, 40 minutes of conversation with these different pockets and where we can go. So thank you for bringing us around there. Absolutely. And I got to give some love here. I'm going to bring us back to this because we'll do, actually, no, give me 1 second because let me just say thanks first to Space. So we called for some American love that's it. And gifted 5 Seahawkers podcast memberships of Space. Thank you so much. I see people gobbling those up. And I know it's a YouTube setting. Just Google, you know, how to accept. People always ask, how can you get the memberships? It's a setting. You have to be basically turned on to accept it. And that kind of came out wrong, Griff, but I think people get the gist. And then it's also the YouTube algorithm gods. They decide who gets it. And that is, are you commenting? Are you watching the videos? Are you liking the videos? All the things that generate basically more thrust for the videos. And Griff, that kind of came out wrong too. But that's how you get gifted these memberships. But Griff, we don't stop there. Rockman Drums coming in, also already a member, and he gifted 5 memberships. So very, very kind of everybody. We do not take any of that for granted. And we know that you work for your money. So thank you so much for doing that. And if you do receive some of these, think about paying it forward, buying a package. And it's a really cool thing. So thank you both so much. All right, Griff, I want to flip us over to one more slide. Don't know if we're going to see much of them today, or at least one of them. Maybe we'll see the other. But the combination of Helani and Utes, it just has me fired up still. And I know that Utes has become a fan favorite right away. I guess, do you think we even see Utes today or bubble wrap time for the young man? And what do you see in Helani in terms of, is he just a good NFL running back that can do all the things? Is there more variance to either side in how you see Helani?
Yeah, I think Helani is a good kind of bottom of the rotation running back. I think he's worthy of the 53. I don't think they practice squad him this year. I think he makes the 53, especially with McIntosh's unfortunate injury. But I think he's shown that, I mean, he's got low center of gravity. He's got decent explosiveness off of a cut. When the blocking's good, his vision is good, and which is usually the case. But when you have good blocking and the vision is bad, then like you really know like this guy doesn't have it. But it's hard to confirm if a guy does have good vision behind good blocking, because I'm repeating myself here, but it's like everyone should have good vision when the blocking is good. So, but if you again, definitely don't show that you have good vision behind good blocking, then it's like, all right, you're out of here. But in his case,
then you get traded to the 49ers and they go gaga over it. So that's that.
Right. I mean, I kind of want to see Helani behind, kind of more more mixed blocking to like really gauge like, all right, how good is this guy actually? Like, could he be a lead back? Could he be a number 2 back? But for right now, I'm content with him being like a number 3 back, and just being part of the rotation by a run heavy scheme, because he'll definitely be getting reps even if he is the 3rd guy. So
yeah, makes sense to me. What the bit I've seen of him, I obviously liked him at Boise State, and I love the trash talk that he's the best out of Boise State. I think that's fun. Whether it's true or not, time will tell. And in this system, it was a little bit tough to parse last year what you had with Helani. Mm-hmm. And here I'm like, man, I could see, which is going to be some high praise in a second, I see shades of like Arian Foster, of a guy who knows how to get to the one cut and then go. Yeah. And maybe not the top level, take it to the house, Arian Foster, that when he was prime for those 4 or 5 years, but not too far off. However, with all that, there's so much it's why running backs have been devalued in many ways, because there's so many people that are just good with the rock in their hands. They're just really good athletes that can, like you said, if they get good blocking, they figure it out. They're pretty damn good. But I like Kalani. I like what we're seeing, man.
Yeah, I like that comp to Foster, at least stylistically. They both have that really late patience.
Yes.
Where they will hold out as long as possible while still being committed to the structure of the play, and then find that crease really late in the snap.
I want to jump in there too, because you're sparking this for me too, and it's not Le'Veon Bell. I'm gonna go sideways patience. It's just I'm still progressing downfield, but then I can go from that gear one, first gear, and I could jump it to 3 or 4 when I see it, I can go. And to me, that was Arian Foster. It was like stretch, go. And as opposed to Bell, who would like dance around a lot in really congested areas, different skill set, and still find a way forward.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like that you're differentiating them, because they're both like such great examples of having patience, but it's a different kind of patience. It's way more on the Foster end of the spectrum than the Bell end. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. People are digging the Kalani and Utes reference, so that's fun. Stick around to the very, very, very end, because at the very end, Griff, have you seen our Utes hype video yet? It's okay if you say no. It's okay.
I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't think so.
We'll share it together. We'll share it together after this. So, all right, let's go back to us on the big screen here. And again, thanks for all the super chats that are flying in. You guys are great. Oh, we got another one. Wow. Incredible. Griff, we got to have you on more often, it seems. All right. So this is Peter Go Hawks, a $4.99 super chat. He's asking, what today's game score? What's your next? Oh, he's got lots of questions. All right, Peter. Next jersey. What's the score? And then prediction for the year. He's saying, 32-17 for the game and 14-3 if healthy. Go Hawks. And he's buying a Horton jersey. All right, let's start with the jersey. That's probably most fun. You're buying a jersey. Who are you buying?
If I'm buying a jersey, who am I buying? I gotta go Ernest Jones.
Love that. I mean, I know you're a linebacker guy. I go Julian Love. I think he's just the fabric of this team. We're going to talk about glue and fabric in a second as well with our next topic. But great question from Peter there. And we talked about record already. Today, I don't care. I'm sorry. Sorry, Peter. I don't care what today's score is. I just get out with your dudes healthy. Have the seconds and thirds progress. Have the battles you got to have, and get ready to go beat the 49ers 32-17. Let's take that trade. All right, we got one more again. Shane, the man from Australia, saying, as I was gifted a membership, here's another tip. Amazing that we got people that are musicians and do things like that for a living that are so gracious with their time and their money, man. It is not nothing. It's noticed. All right. So we did promise we would also talk about Nwosu. I follow you and Maddie quite a bit. I watch pretty much everything you guys put out. Really enjoy it. And you've been a constant drumbeat that Nwosu is maybe more important than the average Seahawks fan understands when it comes to quite a bit on the defensive line. I'll just give you the mic. What do you mean by that? The only sidecar I'm going to put on this conversation is Nwosu healthy? Because the end of last year, man, I saw some plays where I was like, this guy's not even close to right. Just his speed is gone. I understand we need to have health there, but what does Nwosu mean to this team in your eyes?
Well, first, I agree with you that he wasn't 100% to end the year. The explosive, it especially showed up with the lack of explosion rushing the passer in particular. But so of the edges in the league that are in that kind of sub 260 weight class, so that 240 to 260 weight class, of those guys, and there's a lot of them playing, 500 plus snaps in the league, I think he is, without exaggeration, an elite run defender. And, elite run defense is kind of hard to, one, identify easily, unless you're getting 20 tackles for loss or something, right? It's not easily recognizable. You have to squint for, and then even then it's hard to get super excited about. And so because of those things, an elite run defender and then the value they bring can go under the radar. But I mean, I truly think that he is an elite run defender of those guys. A 280-pound guy is going to give you different caliber of run defense and in different situations, but being 260 also lends itself toward being a little more mobile. So again, it's all circumstantial, and not all run defense is the same. But so, yeah, I mean, in my opinion, we're talking about a player that possesses at the very least an elite set of skills in certain areas. And if you're elite at anything, that provides a lot of value. When you live in a 4-down front, which teams want to do because they want to give their defensive line width to get after the passer, the more you go in that direction, the more you might end up sacrificing in run defense. So the question really for me is, it's this principle of how good can you be at something relative to the resources you commit to it, whether those resources are schematic or personnel types or et cetera, what you emphasize within a play call. You can put out the same play call, but game plan it so that you train the guy's eyes in a different way. And that's where like that hidden multiplicity can be found and stuff. So in the Seahawks case, they live in 4-down fronts most of the time. They want to play 4-2-5 nickel. They want to have speed at their D-line. They want to disguise their coverage and everything. And so then the run defense is simply how good can we be out of a structure that isn't meant to defend the run super well. So that's the question. So how do you get better and better against the run without investing a bunch of schematic time and resources into that? Well, that's via your players. And Nwosu is a guy that you can just put out there against what in a front that might look really soft schematically on the whiteboard anyway, to an offensive line, and they run all these front beaters at you, counter to the bubbles or trap or whatever, against, when you really widen your 3-tech out and pop that A-gap bubble, et cetera, right? Well, Nwosu just takes care of a lot of that stuff. And so when he's out on the field, I mean, he just kills entire sections of offensive run scheme. And in theory, he can do that while also giving you something in pass rush. Now, again, we didn't see that last year, but you could just say, well, if run defense is so important, why not just throw out a 285-pound guy to play the edge? Well, you can do that with Roy Robertson Harris, but he's not going to give you any pass rush as an edge. So it defeats the purpose of living in a 4-down front. At that point, just play your 5-man front stuff and stuff the run. But, then there goes the pass rush again. So it's tough, but it's all about that balance, finding true 3-down players, and he's simply one of them. And if he can give you 500, 600 snaps healthy, that really just helps your team out.
Well, the thing that comes through for me the most there is that, like, as you lay that out really, really beautifully, man, is that those are the types of players that Macdonald has to have to get to the ceiling of what he requires from his defense. Maybe Ernest Jones is the example at linebacker last year, like that type of player. And Nwosu being that, I don't want to call it a tweener because that's not exactly it, but the way I can't say it better than you did. So the things you just said, it's like that. Those are the glue pieces that if you don't have that in the Macdonald style defense, at least how I interpreted what you're saying, you might not reach the maximum. And in this case, that might come at the expense of, I love how you phrase it, like this defense is not designed to stop the run. However, it is an imperative, and therefore you need these types of players to do this thing in a McDonald style defense. Did I extract that?
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. It's all about, like, you some things are a gambit and in service of doing something else. Mike philosophically is like, look, it's a passing league. We got to stop. We can't let teams throw the ball on us. So, and that that has to come at the expense of something else, just because it's a football field's a closed system, right? As you increase pressure over here, you're taking off pressure over here and vice versa. So it's all about striking that balance.
We got another question from Shane Turner. This was earlier, but I figured I'd hold on to it till it made sense for the combo. I think right now is great. He's asking, if I missed it, Griff, what's your opinion on the extension of Mafe? Yay or nay? Let's just, for the sake of it, say he gets let's say he has a good year and he gets the type of extension that solid defensive ends get that are around 10 sacks a year.
I mean, I would try to get him at like 4 years, 25 million per year. If I can make that happen, some team will probably throw 4 years, 120 million at him if he hits double-digit sacks.
Yes, agree.
It's tricky. Fortunately, Seattle has depth. I like the player. It's just, I don't. If Nwosu is healthy and he looks like, hey, Nwosu's back, then I would let Mafe go.
All right. We got that. I think that's fair because there's a lot of people coming up, a lot of Seahawks coming up next year from the 22 draft and others that they're going to be up. And it's one of those things, like some sacrifices will likely have to be made. However, we're in a good salary cap position and the salary cap is basically a bit of magic voodoo and keeps on going up. So, good teams. The thing we haven't done this year is get ahead of some of our stars. Yes, we give Cross the fifth year. Look, I've been out there on the branch being like, we should have extended Abe. Like, I've seen enough. Go, and you can maybe get Abe at that 25-30% discount now. If he
Right.
goes out and has a rock star right tackle year, okay, he's gonna
Right.
break the bank. And you can't get rid of tackles. Like, that's the stupidest thing you could do, is like try to go gamble on tackles.
Yeah.
So I would love to have said we've done what the Eagles do well. I can't honestly say that. I could say right now it feels more Bengalsy and more Cowboysy, and that feels gross. Now I know there's a lot of injury
Yeah.
impact in those decisions, but does not feel like let's get ahead of this and pay people in advance so far, at least, Griff.
Yeah, I'm with you. Philosophically, I wish they would be willing to bet on their guys a little bit.
Yeah.
I think not doing that with Damian Lewis was a mistake. I think not doing that with Jordan Brooks was a mistake. If they had paid Damian Lewis in 2022, they could have gotten him at $8 million per year.
Jeez. It's like a bargain at this point. It's like buying a stock. It's like buying Amazon, whatever, like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. It's like, okay, it's probably going to go up. Probably, right?
Yeah. So it's just, I don't know, identify someone that you feel good about. I mean, there's a lot of names, because that speaks to how well they're drafting, right? That there's so many candidates to choose from. Like, extend one or two of them early, just so that you know what the table looks like for you moving forward, just to simplify things even. But I mean, they have their rostering models, they have their cap theory in house that we're not privy to, but you'd like to see something happen.
Agree. We'll see. But again, this is a full year, and Schneider has not been shy of making in-season moves, whether that's trades or extensions. So let's see what happens. Maybe they see 4 or 5 weeks of Abe and say, here's the bag. Let's just lock it up. That would make me happy. Abe is, to me, I think he's got a very bright future in this league.
Yeah, I would keep Lucas if possible. Yeah,
keeping good right tackle seems smart. So plus also culture fit, just badassery. It's like, yeah, this guy kind of checks the boxes of what I'd like in my offensive lineman to look like. All right, so we had a real good conversation there about Nwosu. Again, we're with Griff Sturgeon of the Seattle Overload podcast. If you are not already subscribed to Seattle Overload with Matty F. Brown, you really need to just rewind a few minutes and hear how he's talking about Nwosu, and you'll get at least a sense of the kind of breakdown and conversation him and Matty have every single week on Seattle Overload. It's an absolute must follow and subscribe if you're a Seahawks fan. All right, let's land here, Griff. Let's look through some of the bubble areas and how many positions do you think they're going to keep here? One of the comments that came up on the YouTube poll that we put out earlier, some folks were like, I'm still concerned about wide receiver. Now, I don't have concerns at wide receiver. And my concerns they're washed away with, I look at what, obviously JSN, Cup, the emergence of Horton, and the others, Bobo and Derek, et cetera, et cetera. And I look at a wide receiver group that, I don't know, maybe has a hard time stretching the field every now and again. I could tell you this, though. I think we'll be markedly better in the red zone with that wide receiver group than last year's wide receiver group. I just think it's a short area agility, I think, is stronger, and high pointing fades and stuff like that, I think, is stronger with this group than it was last year. But we can't keep all the wide receivers. How many do you think we keep? And with your number, who doesn't make it?
Yeah, it's tough. I've been thinking about that, and I feel like this team should carry 5, but the only thing that's giving me pause to maybe push it out to 6, given that they're going to be a run heavy team, and given that they've got all these like auxiliary players via H backs and fullbacks, and of course the depth tight ends, right, where they're going to want to steal a guy and keep more there. The only thing that's giving me pause is that I don't think Cooper Kupp is in their long-term plans.
Sure.
And they don't want him to make them lose someone that they want around in 2026 or 2027. Now, I might be overrating the likelihood that these players get picked up by someone else. So maybe it doesn't matter. They can keep them on practice squad. But I mean, the way I see it, obviously JSN, Kupp, Bobo, Horton, that's 4. And then, Derek Young he is playing way better this preseason than I thought he did last preseason. I was disappointed by him last year, and I think the blocking this year has been really good. And he's showing a little bit as a route runner now. And he's always been crazy athletic and not one of those like just, he does one thing well athletically. Like he's a well-rounded athlete. He can change direction. He's explosive. He's tall. He's fast. But I'm kind of, and maybe against my better judgment, like I'm kind of a Ricky White guy. And I kind of want him to make the team, if anything, just for special teams. But they can cut him, and he's going to get put on practice squad, and I don't think a team's going to sign him. So, I'm a little gun shy about. I wanted Bo Melton to stick around. He's kind of a contributor for Green Bay in some ways, but they can probably get away with keeping 5 at receiver. So.
Well, you mentioned Bill Melton. I was the biggest John Ursua truther on the planet, so I understand.
So was I. I liked him,
Look, I feel like the dude was like a half an ass away from scoring that touchdown, and then he was gone. It's like, wait, he was fine. I even gave him the name the Slotness Monster and everything, Griff. And I mean, much like me, you throw a lot of things at the wall, and sometimes they stick, and most times they don't. It's okay. All right, so what other positions are most intriguing to you from the roster bubble construction? If you're like, okay, this next area matters today, what we see?
It's tough because linebacker depth is important because it's like, is there anyone worthy of being depth?
Right, yeah.
Like that's tricky. But then also I am intrigued by their backup safeties. I like Ty Okada. I like Jarrett Reed. Like I'm a Jarrett Reed guy. I think Jarrett Reed can have a Kobe Bryant career arc. I think he can be a starter at some point. I might be totally wrong about that, but I like his traits. But then there's this other kind of corner safety hybrid that has been bouncing around the league a little bit, and I think I see why he keeps getting camp invites, because I've actually liked his film deep into the fourth quarter, is Tyler Hall. That guy plays with really good technique, and I suspect he probably sticks around because he's probably not that physically impressive, but some cornerback coach or DB coach is like, hey man, I like this guy's technique, kind of like from a coach's pet perspective, like just does everything well that we tell him to do type of thing. So I kind of like Tyler Hall, and it's like, could he be one of those surprises in the secondary? How many safeties do they keep? I don't know. They probably only keep 4 pure guys if they're counting Eamon Warrior there. I don't know. But I have intrigue at safety. Cornerback depth past like their top 3 guys might be a little shaky. Well, 4 if you count Shaquille Griffin. That's probably why they signed Shaquille Griffin. So who cornerbacks 5 and 6 are will be interesting. That might be Tyler Hall. I don't know. We'll see. And when I was mentioning the receivers earlier, I didn't even mention MVS, right? So that's where it's like they kind of feel like they have to keep 6 almost. But I don't know. So it's interesting.
Do we have to keep MVS? I know it's $3 million, but that's not a lot of money nowadays. And it is for me.
Sure.
I'd like $3 million. But it is, and by the way, that's not a pitch for a super chat. Unless if you're a billionaire, then let's have it. But it's not a huge deal if it's not a lot of egg on the face for a GM. But like, all right, we tried a wide receiver. Then, by the way, we drafted so well, and our farm system, if you will, was even better in the system, and therefore we have better options. Like this, there's no shame in that.
Yeah, I think that they probably try to keep MVS just because I think Kubiak really wants the post threat, and Horton can be that guy, but MVS just has a little bit more of a track record, and I think they will value his veteranship, his veteranness, if you will. But he may not be used very much. He might end up losing snaps. They might cut him into the season type of thing. I think to start, they're going to feel inclined to keep him. I might be wrong, though. It's just a lot of like the pitch for the other receivers is theoretical at this point. If anything, MVS is a bit of a proven commodity as a role player. So that's just how I see it.
Yeah, I feel I'm with you on that, and in the sense that I think they end up probably keeping him too, is my gut. I just hope it's not at the expense of Derek Young and kind of, God forbid, Bobo. Just should not be. Like this is not a vibes thing. This is not, I like the tall white receiver guy. It's not that. I think Bobo provides a very specific skill set that in the red zone and in tight areas is really valuable. And by the way, he gets out and plays special teams, and he's a good blocker. And
Yeah.
Tariq Young, you laid it out. The guy has it all, and markedly better looking year this year versus last year in Grubb's system, and just more opportunities. So we'll see. We'll see how that all comes down. I think was it cut down day Tuesday or Wednesday? I know it's like coming right up. It's one of these next week, mid next week. So we'll keep on checking in. Shane Turner saying, huge, gets me every time. What can I say, dude? I'm a New Yorker. I grew up on Long Island. So the fact that you can't, that I don't sound like a Jersey Shore guy, you should be celebrating. But yeah, I say Houston, I say huge, human. There's no H's in those words. It just starts with a U. All right, Griff. So we canvassed quite a bit. Let's land the plane with a bit of quick fire for you. So Sundell Olu, is already determined, and is Sundell in your opinion, if it is him, is he the right choice to start the season?
I was convinced that it was going to be Olu heading into training camp, and it sounds like they were still mixing the reps in, but that he was holding it down. Then the injury happened, and I was hearing good things about Sundell in camp too. I think everyone was. It's not like Sundell was playing poorly, therefore just give it to Olu.
Right.
But then Sundell gets in there, and game's the game, man. Like Olu got Wally pipped. Like Sundell looked great, So what do you do with that? Now, I don't think Sundell is as good as he showed superficially against Kansas City, but I still think we can say that there's real promise and he could be a solid center, just because I think the Kansas City game is not fool's gold, but just like they're not going to average 8 yards per carry. Right? It's not going to happen. But that's not to say that a good preseason performance, you just don't count it. Like you just have to adjust accordingly. Like, hey, this group could have a real shot at averaging 4.5 yards per carry, especially for how much they're going to run. Like it's more impressive to average 4.5 when you run the ball, 500, 600 times as a group versus 300 times. Right. Because it's harder to run when defenses know you're going to run, obviously. But like at this point, I still think Olu could be a good center for them. But Sundell's shown so much that I want to see where that goes. While the run game for me, the run blocking and Sundell himself, it went from hypothetical to theoretical. Like we have enough information to be like, we can project this into the regular season and feel like they could be a good group. The pass protection to me is still entirely hypothetical because I don't really think they've been tested. I think the scheme has been bottled up too much, and the quality of opponent based off who's been out there. Like, I'm not saying they can't be a decent protection unit. I'm just saying I don't feel like we can say they can either necessarily yet either. We just need to see more. Again, I just want more information there. So there's that we're waiting for that other shoe to drop. It hasn't dropped yet. I don't really think we can assess with any sort of confidence yet. So there's still some waiting and seeing for me.
Yeah, I think you're saying it in a pragmatic and with that smart fashion, in the sense that this is why that was on the poll. We started the whole show with hey, is your concern still the O-line until it's really, really real? Can we really believe this? And as you said too, hey, that might be week 6. It might not be week 1 versus the 49ers. And it certainly won't be at 4:00 Eastern today versus the Packers, which, oh, by the way, Seahawks podcast will be on live. It won't be me. I'll be kind of producing in the background, but Brandon and Adam, I think Adam, maybe it's me. You know what? Adam's got a Gulch party. It's going to be, Griff, I'm double dipping today, bud. It is me. Oh God, sometimes I got to check my own calendar. It's me and Brandon back on later today after so we get a double dip, which is fun. Because again, this is just fun talking about a quality team, but with lots of comments that came in about, looks to me from a crowd perspective, or, I hate to call it mob mentality. That's not what I'm saying to all your flockers out there. It's just the momentum from the fan perspective is definitely behind Sundell. And sometimes it's just like, okay, well, Olu's good. And, maybe, he's an average center that could pitch to maybe above average. And people are more drawn to the shininess of what they don't fully know yet. And I think your point of, look, when this is week 1 and there's a stunt and all of a sudden Bose is coming through, the one on some stunt, let's see how Sundell performs, and let's see how Bradford, if he's fast enough to keep up with that type of thing. And then week 2, going out to play the Steelers in Pittsburgh is never easy at Heinz Field. So I love that. I love that challenge for our Seahawks, but I love the way you brought it up because I like to get over my skis. I want to believe, man. And with that, I still like being reminded that sometimes you really do got to see it in the NFL. There's no other place where that's more important than the O-line being, did you do this did you stack weeks the way McDonald
Right.
wants you to on the offensive line?
Right. Totally with you.
Cool. So, hey, man, let's do a little quick roundabout to say thanks to folks that were in with us earlier. So, again, we had Bryce Coots with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Bryce. Good luck on your new show. Everybody go follow The Hawk's Eye with Bryce Coots. He just announced that just last night. And then we had another Canadian. See, I'm learned. We had Seahawk, basically, 17. Thank you so much. Shane Turner Acoustic with the $2.99 super chat all the way from Australia. Then we had some gifting going on. Space and Rockman Drums, 5 each. That's freaking amazing. 5 subscriptions each out on YouTube. And then Peter Go Hawks with I'll just round it up, $5 super chat. Penny's going away in America anyway. Thank goodness. And Shane Turner coming back in with the $2.99, which is amazing. So, folks, absolute reminder here for you that if you don't already subscribe to Seahawks Podcast, please do. And I'd say even more importantly for today, let's make sure we're subscribing to the Seattle Overload Podcast with Griff and Maddie F. Brown. Griff, what do you got coming up this week? Is it going to be some review of what you saw with the Packers, or is it more getting focused on the roster and things of that nature?
I think Maddie and I will have a kind of a preseason rendezvous where we just kind of we'll review the Packers game, some players of note. We'll kind of review the whole preseason, and then I think that episode will kind of double as kind of like a 53-man roster prediction, because I don't think we'll be able to sneak in another episode. And then, man, it's going to be just that wait and see period and see if a Hendrickson trade happens, and otherwise it's get ready for week 1. So.
Yeah, well, you touched on it, so we might as well end there before we watch the Utes video. So stick around, because we got the Utes video, which, by the way, it's only 31 minutes long, so who cares? No, it's a minute. It's a minute. Trey Hendrickson, I was out there on Twitter with you, and not say with you because I don't want to associate that way without you saying your words. But my whole take is there's a lot of people that are like, oh, you have to be in this Super Bowl window to go get an elite talent. I'm like, well, what if you could get the talent at a fair price and it helps you get into that Super Bowl window faster? I don't understand why that's not a reality with Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, I mean, with Trey, it's kind of, I mean, he's probably, what is he asking for? $35 million a year. I mean, if we're talking about paying Mafe $25 million, if that's what you're faced with, is Hendrickson worth the additional $10 million relative to Mafe? I mean,
probably
in a vacuum, I'm going to say yeah, because back-to-back 17.5 sacks, right? I mean, the more I think about it, I don't think this is like that finishing masterpiece type of move, but because the reason for that is because Trey Hendrickson helps you with your pass defense and your like pure passing situations. And the Seahawks are already elite there. So to me, it's kind of like taking an area where you're elite and making it more elite, which, hey, that's cool, man. Like I'm not against that.
Not bad, right?
But their weaknesses in pass defense is more the play action world. Trey Hendrickson isn't going to help you defend play action better. As counterintuitive as that sounds, he's not going to actually improve your weaknesses. He'll improve your strengths, but again, at the cost of only $10 million more marginal dollars relative to Mafe. It's like, if you can pull it off for a 3rd round pick and maybe sending Mafe over, why not? Like he's older, but he's 30. He's not 33 and going strong. He's 30 and going strong.
Thank you.
Like
Thank
there's
you,
a
by
difference.
The way. There's a big difference. And people, and the last thing I'll say about that too is, yes, we all want Micah, but Micah is going to cost you, what we paid for Jamal Adams and then more. There's rumors out there the Packers offered 2 firsts, a second, and other stuff, and they still said no. So, and yes, we all want a 26-year-old versus a 30-year-old. We understand that. People also, in my opinion, discount his New Orleans years. Like his last 3 years there, he had like 14 sacks, 13 sacks, 8 sacks. I'm not sure if that was an injured year or something like that. And then he goes to Cincinnati and goes for 17 and a half twice. And leads the league on a team that is not stacked on defense. Ask Max Toscano. He's got takes on the Bengals defense, guys, and still is an absolute game wrecker when it comes to getting to the quarterback, which in this league, one of the things we talked about earlier this offseason was the importance of 4th down and how Jalen Milroe and what Kubiak likes to do with Taysom Hill, and that not only do I think we'll be more aggressive on fourth down, aggressiveness is just an indicator. It's really success on fourth down that matters, your percentage of how often you convert on fourth down that really tilts the field. Well, you get a dude who gets sacks on third down. Okay, you're no longer in tush push territory. You're no longer in, we're going to go for it. Now you're in, okay, we're taking 3 if it's a long field goal or a punting. And then you flip that, or you add to that Milroe and what Kubiak's going to want to do and be more aggressive on fourth downs and convert more on fourth downs. It is a very powerful combination that I think people are just not putting the things together. And I feel, as you can tell, strongly that if you could change those two sides of the ball, you might go from a 10-win team to be like, hey, this is a 12-plus win team that can really threaten. And that is that Super Bowl window we're talking about.
Yep. I mean, hey, man, if you can get, if you can get Trey Hendrickson in here, like, just do it. Like, forget all the other stuff. Like, if it's possible, like, go for it. Yeah. Love it.
This is a lot of fun. Are you ready for the Robbie Oots hype video of your life?
Sir, I am ready.
Oh my
I have never been more ready.
I love it. I love it. All right, hit it, Maddie.
Oh, yeah, I hate soccer, yes.
Oh my.
With the 175th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Bobby. I don't hate you, Bobby.
All right, Griff, that is the hype video that you now have in your heart and your soul. Hope you could take that with you for this game day and then on to the season as our Seahawks get ready for, at the very least, will be a really intriguing year. Any plans for today's game, man? Sitting at home watching that? What are you doing at 1 o'clock Pacific?
Real quick though on that Robbie video,
please.
if fullback doesn't work out for him, I think he's got a career in the WWE.
Good call.
I think he's built for that. But
man, good call.
I mean, I'm gonna be ripping and running around trying to squeeze in my errands, and then I'll be just hunkering down on the couch and getting to know these unfortunate players that aren't gonna be around any longer. But yeah, man, that's how it goes for me. How about you?
I got to go pick the kid up from something else at martial arts in 2 seconds. And then I'll do a couple things today. And then I'll just going to lock in like 3:30 and just chill, 3:30 Eastern, that is, watch the game. And then I'll be back on live with Brandon, the Seahawkers pod. And we'll be doing this once again. So Griff, you're always welcome on this podcast. We'll have to do it again. We'll probably check in maybe a few weeks in and take a temperature check on our Seahawks. And until then, man, have an awesome Saturday. Appreciate you and Maddie a ton, and go Hawks, dude.
Thanks, man. Yeah, take it easy. Go Hawks. Thanks for having me on.
You got it.
Peace out.
Peace.